And welcome to Hannity. And tonight, Joe Biden is pledging $1 billion in disaster recovery aid, but not for the people of Georgia, North Carolina, where temperatures now have dropped below zero in many areas. Many have inadequate housing. It has been 2 months now since Hurricane Helene devastated the area, and some Americans, our fellow Americans, they are living in tents with their children. But that $1 billion in federal aid, no, it's not going to rebuild homes in North Carolina. Instead, Joe is sending your hard-earned tax dollars to Africa and to Ukraine. In Africa, he's trying to help the citizens of Angola recover from a recent drought, which is fine, but when are we going to take care of our fellow Americans? In fact, just hours after gifting his son an 11-year get-out-of-jail-free card, Biden traveled all the way to Africa to make the announcement, or at least that was the plan. Take a look at your screen. A very physically weak, tired, mentally confused president could barely walk or talk, and at times he wasn't making any sense at all. You decide.
You know, with you in Angola, a vibrant city, and I look, not the city. The city, I know, is not Angola, but in Angola, in a vibrant city.
A fitting end to a historically bad presidency marked by weakness, incompetence, utter dishonesty, corruption, and putting the interests of foreign nationals well before the needs of his fellow Americans. Thankfully, this very sad, pathetic chapter in American history, it is now coming to an end. America First is back in a big way. World leaders, it's fascinating to watch. It's like the Trump effect, you can call it. The United States maintaining a huge amount of leverage. Donald Trump is not afraid to use it. And after Donald Trump's threat of tariffs, well, the president-elect reported that Mexico's president agreed to secure their own border and stop the migrant caravans that are heading towards our border. And north of the border, well, little Justin Trudeau immediately hopped on a plane, flies down to beautiful Palm Beach in Mar-a-Lago, where he all but begged Donald Trump not to impose any new taxes on Canadian imports. And according to reports, Donald Trump joked that Canada might have to become our 51st state if they can't handle the tariffs. Look at this.
And tonight we're getting some new details about that Trump-Trudeau dinner from two people who were at the table. We are told that when Trudeau told President-elect Trump that new tariffs would kill the Canadian economy, Trump joked to him that if Canada can't survive without ripping off the U.S. to the tune of $100 billion a year, then maybe Canada should become the 51st state and Trudeau could become its governor.
And in Trumpian fashion, earlier today, Donald Trump, well, he continued to troll our neighbors to the north with this meme posted on Truth Social, showing the president-elect looking out over the vast Canadian wilderness with the caption, "Oh, Canada." Meanwhile, across the Pacific Ocean, communist China, all of a sudden, very quiet, keeping a very low profile. The CCP's once constant threats against our allies, well, are non-existent at the moment. In Russia, Donald Trump already spoke to Vladimir Putin, according to reports, warning Russia's dictator not to escalate the war in Ukraine, and, quote, reminded him of our ability and sizable military presence that is in Europe. It now appears that Putin and Zelensky are more willing than ever to hammer out a peace deal, Zelensky going as far as to acknowledge territorial disputes can be settled peacefully, all while Joe seems hell-bent on escalating war in Europe by providing ballistic missiles to Ukraine that you're paying for that would be able to reach into Russian territory, which then caused Vladimir Putin to respond with, hypersonic missile technology and the threat of a nuclear attack. That part is chilling with only 50 days to go, Joe Biden knowing that Donald Trump wants a negotiated settlement. And then in the Middle East, after Donald Trump threatened to unleash hell on the terrorists of Gaza, what a surprise. Hamas expressing an interest in a new peace deal, but Donald Trump made clear the American hostages better be returned by January 20th, or there will be hell to pay, and Hamas will face severe consequences. Now, Biden's tepid, disjointed foreign policy will soon be in the rearview mirror, like a bad memory that we all wish we could forget. In fact, in Western Europe, American allies have already moved on from Biden. The French President Macron inviting Donald Trump to be the honored guest at the country's long-awaited reopening of Notre Dame this coming weekend. Back at home, the Democratic Party is an unmitigated disaster. They have no real leadership. They have no agenda. There's a lot of finger-pointing. They have no coherent messaging. You could say a dumpster fire. And today, in a now-deleted tweet, House Democrats mocked Americans over their inflation concerns, if you can believe this. Meanwhile, Americans have been suffering for 4 years. Meanwhile, one of the Democratic Party's biggest cheerleaders, Chucky Todd, over at NBC and MSDNC, is now lashing out at Joe Biden. Would have been nice if he did this before the election, but don't hold your breath.
I followed the Hunter Biden trial very closely. I read every transcript, all the testimony, because that's what all that was made public. And there is, you want to get angry, just as somebody in just all these mixed emotions. You read the Hallie Biden transcript, and that's Beau's widow.
Yes.
And essentially he turned her into a crack addict. And this was all happening in 2017, 2018. And Joe Biden were so concerned about their family that they decided to run for president.
Yep.
So when you talk about the word selfish, it's almost like the word doesn't, their decision to run for president put the entire Democratic Party and the United States of America in the position that it's in now.
Why didn't Chucky Todd say that 2017 and 18? Now, liberal Joe and Mika, they have a different take. They are lashing out at their fellow radical left-wing journalists, the legacy media that is now dead, accusing them of hysteria. Why? For simply reporting the facts surrounding Biden's unprecedented pardon of his troubled son, zero-experience Hunter. Take a look.
I'm not asking you to take sides here. I'm just saying, talk about the frustration that many Democrats are having on the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, a lot of mainstream organizations blowing this up to a size that they believe is really out of proportion given everything Donald Trump has done in the past and what he's doing right now.
Didn't we play last night on this program, that very same show, saying that Joe Biden would never pardon Hunter because he's so different than Donald Trump? Oh, okay, never mind. No matter how you try to sugarcoat it, Joe Biden's legacy is not good. He will be known as a corrupt liar, as well as an incompetent leader in the throes of what is and has been a steep cognitive decline, controlled like a puppet by left-wing bureaucrats all in the Washington swamp. The American people made the right choice. They made the right decision. Good times, they're ahead. Hopefully lasting transformational changes. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.